So Nissan, they've teamed up with a company called Radicool. They specialize in something called radiative cooling.
That's right, Radicool. They're specialists in this area. And together, they're tackling this heat head-on with this special paint.
What's really interesting here, I think, is that this isn't just any old paint, is it?
No, not at all. It incorporates something called metamaterials.
Metamaterials. Okay, that might sound a bit sci-fi to some people.
It does sound futuristic, yeah. But basically, think of them as materials engineered at a really, really small microscopic level to have some very specific and, frankly, unusual properties. It's kind of like designing the material almost atom by atom to do something special, something you would normally see in nature.
Okay, wow. And this isn't just stuck in a lab somewhere, is it? They're actually testing this out.
That's the key part. They're putting this to the test in the real world. Since last November, they've launched a year-long trial.
A whole year.
Yep. And it's happening at the Tokyo International Air Terminal at Haneda.
Haneda Airport. Why there?
Well, think about it. Huge open tarmac areas.
Right, baking in the sun.
Exactly. It's a perfect high-temperature environment for a real-world evaluation. They've partnered with the airport operator, Radicool Japan, and even ANA, the airline's airport services.
And what are they testing it on?
They're using a Nissan NV100 service vehicle, one that's actually operated by ANA Airport Services.
Ah, so a working vehicle.
Precisely. So they're seeing how this paint performs under, everyday working conditions, not just sitting parked.
And what are they finding? Any early results?
Yeah, and the early results sound pretty remarkable, actually.
Oh.
They're reporting up to a 21.6 degree Fahrenheit drop in the exterior surface temperature compared to a car with regular paint.
Wow, 21 degrees on the surface. That's huge.
It is. But maybe even more impressive for, driver comfort is the interior temperature.
Right. What about inside?
Up to a 9 degree Fahrenheit cooler interior compared to the standard paint.
9 degrees cooler inside. That's a difference you definitely notice the moment you open the door on a sweltering day.
Oh, absolutely. That's a significant margin. You know how hot a car gets when it just sits out in the sun?
Yeah, unbearable sometimes.
These initial findings really suggest Nissan's cool paint can curb that heat buildup quite effectively. And like the news release points out, a cooler interior means the AC doesn't have to work nearly as hard.
Right, it doesn't have that huge temperature gap to overcome right away.
Exactly. Less strain, less energy use.
So how does this paint actually pull off this trick? You mentioned metamaterials.
Yeah, it all comes down to those engineered metamaterials inside the paint itself. Apparently, there are two main types of these tiny particles doing the work.
Okay, two types.
The first one is kind of like a shield against near-infrared rays.
Near-infrared, that's the heat we feel, right?
That's the part of sunlight we perceive as heat, yeah. In regular paint, these rays cause the paint molecules, the resin, to vibrate, and that generates even more heat. This first particle just bounces those rays away, reflects them before they can cause that heating.
Okay, so that's defense. What about the second particle?
The second type is even more interesting, I think. It does something more active. It actually generates electromagnetic waves.
It generates waves.
Yeah, waves that basically counteract the sun's energy. It sounds complex, but it effectively pushes or redirects that incoming solar energy away from the vehicle and back out into the atmosphere.
Whoa. So it's not just blocking heat, it's actively, pushing it away.
That's the idea, redirecting it. So it's this two-pronged approach, really.
Right. One reflects the near-infrared, the other deals with the broader solar energy.
Exactly. And the combined effect is that it really cuts down on the amount of heat that actually makes its way to the car's surfaces, the roof, the hood, doors, all those panels.
Makes sense. And who's behind this development at Nissan?
The lead developer is Dr. Susumu Miura. He's a senior manager and an expert at Nissan's Advanced Materials and Processing Laboratory.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that Dr. Miura has a history of innovation there. He was also key in developing Nissan's award-winning noise-reducing acoustic material. You might remember that.
Oh, right. The quieter cabins. So he's got form in material science breakthroughs.
Exactly. He's got a solid background in tackling these really complex material science challenges.
And his motivation for this cool paint project is pretty interesting too. He was quoted saying his dream is to create cooler cars without consuming energy.
That really sums it up, doesn't it?
It does. It highlights the potential benefits, especially, when we think about electric vehicles.
Oh, absolutely. Less AC use could directly translate to better battery range for EVs. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, definitely. But, If paints that offer this kind of radiative cooling already exist for buildings,
Yeah.
why haven't we seen this on cars before? What's the holdup?
That's a great question, and the news release touches on this. Traditional radiant cooling paint, the stuff used on buildings, it's quite different.
How so?
Well, for starters, it's often really thick. You usually apply it with a roller